Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. My name is Kristen Ryder, and I am your hostess with the mostest. I'm
Mhm.
holding my mouth right to try and see if this is going to go to Instagram. Don't make me a liar here. Here we are. All right, excellent. Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh. Happy full moon in Sagittarius. Like I said in my short, that is apexing this evening. A huge opportunity for us to release all the old stories of the shenanigans that I'm honestly bored with, and I pray you are too. Let's write a new story. um, just before I introduce this goddess sister of mine, my platonic sound program is available for purchase on my website, kristenwriter.com. You can buy the whole program for 444 or each element individually for 111. Angel numbers work. And the organic technology that I activate and walk us through in this program, y'all, it is next level. I am humbled and honored to be bringing this consciousness of all that we are to all that we are. So go to my website for that. If you need an astrology reading, great. If you need a sound healing, great. And now on to the main event. Welcome to episode 28 of Who Are You? Who, ooh, I messed it up. Are you, who, and welcome. Oh God, don't let me cry. Okay, it's okay. Feel the feelings, feel the feelings. Ladies and gentlemen, one of my beloved sisters that I have known for so long, this lifetime and many others, and have had the delight of reuniting with for this party of this life now, my dear sister, Marianne Mitchell.
Thanks, beloved sister.
Hi.
Hi,
Happy
Annie.
full
Happy
moon.
full moon.
Oh my gosh.
It's
So
feeling big.
it's feeling big. And, we didn't even know this prior to scheduling this,
That's true.
but that we've been working on for months because
Hmm.
so much is so on. But both of us were doing a group prayer call. For yours was specifically for the full moon. Mine has been to assist another sister.
Mm.
And so these are free things that you do monthly around the new
Weekly.
moon?
No, they're actually not moon related.
Oh,
It's, you know, with life as it is and becoming a parent, I had to let go of scheduling around cycles and it's more around when I'm available. Um, so we meet every Tuesday morning at 9 and the recordings are up on the YouTube channel afterwards. And it's a free weekly prayer, meditation, energy hygiene practice. So it's like whatever comes forward. Often there's intention around particular frequencies we're tuning in with and embodying. And it's really around that remembrance and embodiment of truth that's not bound by the phenomenal world and the constructs that are dismantling, but really that inner divine spark of who we are, and to illuminate that into our fullness and bring that into our life and into the world to be like the living blessing. Just in a nutshell.
just in a nutshell, here you go. Here's your ascension process and go. So every Tuesday, and can you type actually in our private chat the link to your YouTube so I can put that in the thread for folks to join?
Yeah, well, there's a sign up page on my website.
Oh,
Um,
perfect. Which is
yeah, it's
bluestarmedia.com.
medicine, Blue Star
Oh, sorry,
Medicine.
bluestarmedicine.com.
Yeah. So it's called In Service to the Heart, and there should be like a drop down menu that you can choose that. And it's been going about 6 or 7 weeks now, and it's just inspired to support all of us in meeting the moment, from a resourced place, from like an awakened, upright, integrated place versus being susceptible to the immense movement and change and transformation that's happening in a way that doesn't feel good. So it's really that. And I need it, as much as anyone. So it's such a gift for me to be in this prayer field with people. And it's just a way that I can help serve the moment.
I love it, and it's so authentic, and I love that becoming a parent is what actually shifted you into just being in the authenticity of whatever is revealing
Mm.
every Tuesday, even though we may think it's Friday.
Right. Right.
Which
Yes.
is so supportive for the overwhelm. Like, what
Mm.
have you been witnessing with these current energies and evolutions of the shifts that are going on?
Yeah, good question. Well, I'd say both in the realm of my personal life, my community, and then also the people I'm in service to through my work, the consistent theme is just the muchness, is the immense fullness bursting at the seams, just the currents, the continual waves of things to metabolize, attend to, integrate, digest, and just like one isn't even finished before the next one comes,
Yeah.
And what I have noticed is that it's showing up in the realm for each one, myself included, of what we might call like our vulnerability
Mm.
areas of life, or, and rather what that means is like that's where the lessons are. That's where like the consciousness hasn't yet been fully upgraded and integrated. It's like that's where the invitation is. And so whatever realm that is, if it's the financial health, if it's the physical health, if it's the relationship health, if it's the level of, and I see things in the lens of like health and wellness versus lacking or other than that. So where are things well and where are they not yet well?
And where, I mean, I'm very much in alignment with everything you just said, and I'm really noticing how impertinent it is to really keep the consciousness focused on where we wanna go,
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, not bypassing the feelings we need
Totally.
to purge and express as
Right.
we get there. And then here's another layer, and here's another layer. It is
Right.
becoming so yes, and in the process of transmuting all of this, and there's no get out of jail free card in this
Right.
game right now. So,
Right. And I
for
always
mhm,
say like there's alchemy in the uncomfortability. And so if we can get comfortable with being uncomfortable, there's a process of like we're just continually submitting and surrendering to like our own trajectory of alchemical opportunities. And therein, like that's where, so it's not from detachment, it's from discernment, that we choose where we're placing our attention and where we're placing our energy. And it's not from reaction either, and so rather keep choosing like, okay, from the inside out, from this resource place. And then we have our tools, we have our medicine tools, we have our rituals, we have our spiritual practices, we have our like sacred sister friends, we have our relationship with the natural world. Like when that outer feels so discombobulated and not safe, where do we go to co-regulate? Where do we go to remember? Is any number of those things I just named, but particularly like right straight to the earth, right straight to our plant and flower and tree and animal, kin. So
yes,
when the human world isn't feeling safe, let's go to our more than human world. Let alone our spiritual allies, our allies in the unseen, and so developing relationship um, beyond those systems that are not serving.
going right to the source. And
Yeah.
been looking around at animals and children, and they're like, "Are y'all ready to ascend yet? Are y'all ready to get this party started? Because we're just waiting for you. Because we've known for a while. Because we can see what a disaster some of y'all are." um,
Quite a mirror, isn't it?
quite a mirror, quite a humbling
Yeah.
mirror. Like, oh
Oh yeah.
gosh, Oh gosh.
Yeah, just when you
So
think you've done your work, talk to a child and see what they have to share with you about
exactly.
yourself.
I mean, and I was just with my son this past weekend, and God, he is such a wise soul. And the questions that he asks and his
Mm,
own internal process and awareness around
yeah.
what is going on inside when he feels safe, which is
Hmm.
his mom.
Yeah.
Um, but what are, because you practice a lot of shamanic practices, you have a lot of different and very depthful Scorpio moon practices that can be so laser like in their accuracy
Hmm.
and allowance, which I've always loved about you, your potent fierceness of the feminine,
Mm,
to like really allow yourself to go to those depthful places to reveal what's ready to be released. But
hmm.
what are some of the practices that you could
Hmm.
walk some of my our audience together through that would give them some like, oh, that really resonates with me. I would love to
Hmm.
get her to practice that and Zoom, what's your process?
Yeah. Well, we could do one right now without any tools. And then there's ones I could mention that might require a few items.
Oh my God, we get an
Um,
example.
you want to drop in?
Heck yeah, we got a full moon. I was like, oh yeah, yes, yes, yes. Let's do ceremony, sister. We haven't done one together in forever because we're
No.
both like in so many of our own space holding trajectories.
Yeah. We
So,
have we have the foundation. I mean, should we share? We've known each other like 21 years now.
is it 21?
December 2004, almost 21.
Oh my God. Of course it's December.
And Malta was November 2005.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I'm so grateful.
Hmm.
I
So
remembered
there's
you right
Mhm.
on the spot.
I know it.
I was like, well, hi, new bestie, old bestie. How's it going? And we've been connected ever since.
Yeah, it's super true.
Oh my
It's
gosh, if you would be, I would be honored, and I'm sure everyone here, because I'm sure we're all feeling it. Oh my
yeah.
God. Okay, go.
Let's do a little sure, let's do a little moment together. And there's several ways that we could work this practice. And I also have videos of them on the YouTube channel if you want to drop in with me at any point to do this particular practice. It's one I do probably every day and guide others in, which is why it was important to record it and get it online. So it's a connection with earth and sky, like cosmos and Terra. So right where you are, I invite you to allow your eyes to close and feel yourself really land in your seat. So meaning like lean into what's behind you, drop into your base, like really feel yourself weighted and engaging with what's underneath you. So we're coming back and down in the field of our being and reclaiming our sacred center, our midline. Just inviting a few deep breaths here. Just allow a gathering of all of your personal energy from everything that has been, everything that is, everything that will be. Just feeling your personal essence and energy really arrive more fully to your body, to your wider fields, to this moment. Inviting the breath to move freely through the heart, to just nourish that heart behind the heart, the wisdom seat, the center of our being that's never been hurt or exposed to the human experience. And allowing it to expand with your breath, with your intention. And on your next inhale, allow the breath to travel from the heart all the way down your spine, through your hips, just to kiss the top of your root chakra, your pelvic floor. Just feel it drop down like a water droplet moving into a larger pool of water. Just feel it drop And kiss, bless, touch open your root chakra from the inside. Inviting an awareness of this grounding cord that does extend from our root chakra, the base of our being, the pelvic floor, this taproot, just like the plants and the trees. We have a taproot, this main channel of connection to the earth. And so just allow it to extend using your imaginal awareness. So imagination is the first step in intuition remembering. And so use your imagination, get curious, like, if I had a cord releasing from my pelvic floor, what would that look like? What does that feel like? So just imagine this alive, fleshy, red umbilicus that serpentines and spirals all the way from your body to the heart of the earth. It moves through all the layers of the earth. The bedrock and the underground water caves and the caverns and the layers of terra and firmament, and right to that iron crystal core, that heart center of the earth. And so feel what that feels like to notice a vertical connection to the earth body and your own earth body. And just allowing that to continue to inform and allow yourself to experience it as we gently bring our breath and our attention to the top of our head, to the crown chakra, and feeling in awareness in our imaginal experience that silvery thread of mystic remembrance from the top of the head into the heart of the cosmos, the luminescence, the multidimensional, the expansive. So to that luminous heart of the cosmos, that silvery thread of mystic remembrance connects. And so take a moment to notice this vertical resourcing, that you are where the heavens and the earth meet. You are connected, supported, supplied with the all of the below and the above. And just gift yourself a moment of allowing that earth medicine to arise up that taproot now. So it opens as a pathway of receptivity and allow this highly intelligent, unique earth medicine that is so nourishing and sustaining and fortifying to move upwards and engage, like enter your system, your physicality, your wider field, your energetic field, your light body, just bringing all of that nourishment up, 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 and to and through you. So this energy is intelligent. It knows exactly where it needs to go. And then we gently invite down from the cosmic realms a shower of light to move through that silvery thread of mystic remembrance to bring the effervescent, illumined, uplifting, vibratory nourishment of the cosmic realms, the above realms. So just feel yourself be in active yet gentle receptivity, receiving this from the above and the below. Notice you don't have to tell them where to go. They're so intelligent. They know exactly what you need. And let yourself get filled up. When it feels good, we'll gently invite those infusions to slow, slow, slow at your own pace, whenever it feels complete. Staying present with the breath through the heart. And when you feel filled up and complete, gently allowing your eyes to softly float open in your own time, in your own way. So
Thank you.
if you feel different, drop a message in the chat if that feels good, if you feel shifted a little.
I feel different.
Me too.
I feel much more grounded,
Mm-hmm.
unified, activated. It's interesting too, because in the green room prior to this, we were both sharing our snake encounters.
Yeah.
So I love that you invite the serpent as,
Yeah.
you know, the kundalini that goes down and up. Yours was a physical copperhead you had an encounter with?
Yes, which then yes, it was physical and was very close to us. And then when we got to step back and then we watched it really engage with the water. We watched it swim and then crawl up the next waterfall rock and then swim and then crawl up and then swim. It was really interesting. It was going against the current, which is actually what I've always seen with snakes. Every time I've seen them in a creek, they're going up against the current. Oh, yay. Good. Thanks for, yeah, beautiful.
Yes. So, wow, I felt like I was floating. I feel so light. Thank you. Merci, Elena. And Natalie, Natalie got us matching necklaces. Oh, this feels lovely. I feel
Right.
more clarity from Whitney. Nikki says, thank you, Marianne. Those visuals were amazing. I had to let out an audible oh with the feeling of those energies. Bless. Thank you. Thank you, Nikki. Yay.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
much more integrative and grounded. And I've always enjoyed the languaging that you use
Mm,
in your work because it's
yeah.
so focused on where to go, not where it's been.
Mhm,
However, where you've been is also in there. But when you say this is intelligence and this knows where to go, it knows how to flow, there's such a trusting and a
mhm,
safety in that that
mm,
is very reassuring and allows for that exhale, allows for the nervous
mhm.
system to release, allows for things to come into balance. So I love you.
I love you too. Well, I mean, those intelligent energies have no agenda, other than serving and supporting and uplifting. And it's, two things I think are essential to healing, revealing, embodying is letting go of what needs to be let go of and getting out of our own way. you know,
That's a huge
there's,
one, getting out of
yes,
our own way, and so many times we don't understand where we're in our own way because,
yes.
we're operating subconscious or, all the stories and things, which Sagittarius full moon is gonna
Mm,
help really release, and one of the biggest things I feel is up for release with the current astrology with Saturn and Neptune in Aries and this full moon in Sag,
mm,
trining those energies. Well, it's gonna be past trining now, but, releasing all the victim consciousness,
hmm
it's a really big thing to let those stories go and that victimhood, like, the universe is always giving us what we ask for, so clarification around learning and discerning what to truly ask for and get the details in there, doing it out loud, and knowing that alone can assist letting go of more of that victim consciousness. It's like,
hmm
I mean, I'm over my own victim consciousness. I don't know about you. And there's always more to be revealed. Um,
Always.
when you and I met in 2004, you were like in the old paradigm. What were you doing prior to? Because I want people to understand your journey of how
Right.
you got this way.
Yeah. Beautiful. Good question. It's interesting.
Share
People
what?
do ask me like a lot, like, how did you get here? Da, da, da. I'm like, okay, that's it's a story. And I hope to tell that full story sometime. And, there's parts of it that really even harken back to childhood, of, awareness of the more than human realm and being engaged. Like I have memories of that, of being engaged with, what we would call like star beings or ancestors and fairies and in that way. And then I also have a very specific moment where I turned that off because I was my mother reminded me of this once and I kind of remember it, but I was like, I said to her, Mom, if I was who I really was, I would have no friends.
Mm,
And I was 14, I think.
wow.
And as it happens, when we incarnate with certain awarenesses, certain faculties, certain functionalities, if you will, and we consciously or unconsciously choose to disengage them, a lot of shit hits the fan in about 10 to 15 to 20 years after
Yeah,
that,
it's called
Um,
suppression.
I mean, it's just, it's life has a way of waking us up, to the living truth. And when, and a lot of that, I'm even understanding like more about my own nervous system and how different it is and like how that was really a challenge when I was growing up because I grew up in this very three-dimensional, super waspy realm where there was some acknowledgement of all of that, but the gift was like I also wasn't really indoctrinated into anything, so I didn't have a lot of conditioning to unwind, which I felt really grateful for. Like by the time I came to that crucible moment in my mid 20s, which was around the time that I met you, it's like that walking through the fire, that crucible moment of that first sort of big activation and awakening, I didn't have a ton to dismantle, which I was aware of at the time actually as well. It was more subtle. It wasn't very overt, it was more subtle and it was more cultural than it was more social cultural than it was like familial. There was a lot of space for me growing up.
Wow.
Which was super helpful, but it was through like darker, intense stuff. There just wasn't, there wasn't a lot of scrutiny on what I was doing because there was other stuff happening, and that was a gift that I didn't see for a long time. But when I met you, I was a personal assistant to a Grammy Award winning rapper, actress, fashion designer. I was I wouldn't say so embedded. I had an awareness of like what was mine and what was not mine, but I was in that world of red carpets and security detail and private planes and global travel and doing events and mostly event oriented, all event oriented. So that was like where I was at, and I was absolutely like dying on the inside, living the thing that I thought that I wanted to a certain extent, but just like, oh, so empty, like so empty and so lonely. And I had this moment of, I'm either going to do what I came here to do, or I'm not going to be here. It was
wow.
like,
It was a literal shit or get off the pot moment.
it was. Yeah, it totally was. And because I knew I had enough awareness at that time of like, I've ticked the boxes. I've done of like what the culture gives to you when you're born. Here's your list of the things that you're supposed to do, and then you'll be happy and everything will work out. And I'm like, okay, I've done that one, like this around education and I mean, different things. And the job where I was, like, there was a sense of like made itness and, but the only thing left for me and this is like to females, the only thing left for me on the list was like to get married and have kids. And I had the awareness at 25. I was like, well, that's not going to fix it.
No.
So thank God I didn't pursue that pathway. It took another like almost 20 years.
Right.
But I just knew, I'm like, that's not the thing. I'm either going to do what I came here to do or I'm not going to be here. So I started to really fervently pray, why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here? And I started to have incredible dreams. And I woke up one morning with this chant over and over, and I heard teacher, healer, counselor, teacher, healer, counselor. And I was like, the fuck? And like, I knew teacher didn't mean like second grade teacher. I knew
Right.
healer didn't mean like go be a doctor. I knew
Right.
enough. And so it's like following the breadcrumbs and following like what connected with me in that moment and what felt right. And just, it was one foot in front of the other, because there was a level of there was a level of dysfunction and unhealthiness, and at the time I had to get my shit straight, and I remember it was like this deep dive, and that's when I met you, and it was this deep dive into all of this personal work and investigation and development. And I remember the moment also I heard the void, like I've heard voices my whole life, and it's like, and finally when we start paying attention to them, gosh, there's so much wisdom and clarity there. And I remember the moment and the voices, which I've later identified. Okay, keep doing your work. Now turn around and help others. So it was like, I was focused, and it's like, always keep doing your work. And now it was this pivot to then serving others. And I just followed like where I was to study. And that was, who I was studying with. And then, spirit said, go learn the body. And so I did massage school. And then it was like, go learn this around the nervous. It's like, and it's just been over 20 years of gathering experiences and tools. I mean, and me, it's like so varied, like it's so varied. Like the website we have listed here, I'll tell you guys, this is the first time I'm even on the internet. I'm like, that's not my jam. I'm like magnetism before marketing. It's all about like what you're holding in your own field of being. And that's what I've been word of mouth for 18 years in my practice. And I'm finally just starting to put stuff up there. And that is interesting. So I don't even like have a bio up, because I'm like, how do you write about yourself? And I've been thinking about, what have I done? Like trainings, but lived experience, I think, is so significant. And that just awareness of lived experience of, I've ended up teaching a whole lot through different pathways of classes and trainings of consciousness, and worked with girls and young women and rites of passage and wilderness experiences, and deeply rooted in the natural cycles and seasons of the earth, and it's and it's all very important to me, and it's still coalescing, it's all continuing to grow. And it's interesting what I came from, when people are aware, it's like, I'm sorry, you did what? I worked for the film studio right out of college, like have a degree in television, radio, film. And yeah, it's interesting. And I love it. I love the tapestry of our lives. I love human stories. I love what makes us us.
Yeah. And that's the flow of my journey as well. I'm very much a learn by doing, learn by experiencing, learn by allowing the next opportunity to reveal, like, and when it lights my heart up, it's like, oh, well, I'm going to do that now,
Yeah.
because that's what's here. That's what's calling me. And it's like, oh, and now I'm at a point of, I'm 50. But I've taken on so many different things and birthed so many different things. I'm like, okay, now I'm in a shedding phase, which is what I'm going to be hunkering into prioritizing in the next story that I'm creating of, okay, what do I need to let go of so I can create the space for the new opportunity.
Right.
And
you're very good at that.
I've always been that way.
With physical and not, so y'all should, Chris and I lived together for 3 months, 6 months.
We survived.
And we're like, we're not good roommates. It was a really intense time. There's so many ways that we're similar, and there's so many ways that we're different, and, you've always been good at that in inner and outer ways, like clearing out, making space, allowing to, this is one of my favorite prayers is around, and this is from Tosha Silver and her work of which is really inspiring and very rooted in like New Thought, which is one of the lineages that I emerged from. To let go what must go, let come what must come. And it's like what a dear friend and mentor of mine calls like being open palmed. Like when we're open, like living life with an open palm. So our hands are open, our field is open, and what is ready to depart departs, and then what gets to come has space to land. You know, so open, I just certain points of like contraction around decisions or things. I'm like, I just got to open palm it.
I just got to open palm it. I love
Open
that.
palm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It like
Yeah,
opens your
which is something
field.
that we have such a problem receiving. I'm going to reframe that. We have had
Right.
such problem receiving. And that's where that, in my opinion, that's where we get in our way the most.
Mm-hmm. You mean like controlling things we should
I
not
don't
be
have any control issues. I'm perfect. I have no control issues. You've never seen me my
Me
control
neither.
issues. Are the dishes done?
Yeah, I have no control issues either. I can hear my husband laughing right now if he's watching this.
He doesn't have any either.
No, none of us do.
None
Right?
of us do. But
It's yeah.
that's what I love about us. We've always been able to laugh at our shit.
Yeah.
And I think that, and if we aren't laughing at it, then I'm gonna have to make a joke because, like,
Yeah.
oh God,
Yeah,
it's
taking ourselves not so seriously. Even this whole I mean, if we zoom out and look at like through the cosmic lens, like this is Earth school, this isn't like the beginning and end of the universe. This is a place where I remember Michael Beckwith. I feel really blessed that I was able to study with Michael Beckwith before like the big explosion of things,
some of them might not know who Michael Beckwith
Oh,
is.
Michael Bernard Beckwith, Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, who founded with 20 other people the Agape International Spiritual Center. And he's a beautiful teacher in New Thought, and was like, that was one of the early breadcrumbs of like just praying, this surrender and praying and ask to be shown. Just to circle back to your question of like, where did I come from, or how did I don't remember exactly how you said it, but I just want to highlight it was truly the dark night of the soul, that the crucible moment that created enough alchemy, like enough like momentum, to emerge into this other pathway, which honestly I could then see had been there the whole time, even in the midst of like working in the Hollywood experience. I mean, the women I worked for, amazing. We had like spiritual conversations all the time. Like it just, it was still breadcrumbs, but I hadn't yet seen them. So Michael Beckwith would always say, and I'm paraphrasing, he's like, millions of souls want to incarnate here on earth at this time because it's so special. It's so transformative. This is like a huge moment. And he's like, basically, he's like, if you're not going to see that or value that, like, just keep going, because there are more who want to come. And that was such a shift in perception around like what a privilege it is to be incarnating in the human experience at this time. And don't get me wrong, I get caught up with the stuff, and I'm also not as much, there's a lot of things that I've disengaged from because it doesn't serve my capacity to be awake and aware. Like I'm clear of what portals I can engage with and what I can't, or what I've been told not to. And it's like, I have to follow that inner directive. Otherwise stuff gets real squirrely real fast,
Yep.
Even if it's against what I want. And I'm like, no, but what about,
Yeah. Well, and it's so fascinating. I mean, we've got to give Kate Roger a shout out because she's how we met. She's how we met at her goddess circles in LA.
Yeah.
So grateful for her priestess alchemy and bringing us together in our journey in Malta and honoring the divine feminine like I had never experienced before.
I apprenticed with her deeply for 13 years. And and this is what I mean of like, it is important to name where you're from and who you've studied with and what you've done, because it builds your root system. And if I can't feel somebody else's root system, then I'm like, I don't know where you are in your capacity to hold, space,
Yeah,
you
because it's
know?
a disconnect. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if people aren't naming their teachers, I'm a little bit like, nothing is new, right?
Right.
And let's just get that out of the way. And everything is like uniquely expressed through each person. And so, yeah, Reverend Kate Roger, where Kristen and I met at Agape in an energy circle, was my shamanic priestess mentor. And I was in like old school apprenticeship with her for 13 years in the midst of developing my own path, and has been, I feel very privileged to have had that experience. And it relates me to the mystery schools of old, you know, where we had that depth of um, one-on-one and group, she really, that experience really helped develop me in so many ways, so many ways.
Same. Same.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now I'm like, oh, that's right. That's the timeline. Because when you and I were living together, I think it was around 2010. That's
Yeah.
when I created Beyond Illusion. Oh my God. When we
Yeah,
were
we were doing Soul Garden at the time.
in Soul Garden too,
Mhm.
with Christopher Witecki, my soul brother, that I'm still working with today.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Now I'm doing Moon Wisdom shows, comical. But it was in that time together because you were healing from an injury.
Hmm.
And it was then that you were like, my heart is calling me to the Smoky Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Of course, yes. It was probably 2009. I was heartbroken and I was body broken. And Kristen and I needed each other in this moment for different reasons. And it was really synchronistic. And I lived in this apartment half a block from the beach in Venice Beach at that time. You remember? And it had the
Oh, yeah.
best bathtub.
Best bathtub.
And because I was so injured from this car accident, I was taking like 3 baths a day. It's like where I felt the safest was in the water. And I remember one day I put my hands on my heart and my belly womb, and I said, "Okay, body." I was like, "If you need to leave LA to heal, then that's what we'll do." And the top of my head opened up, and like 70% of the pain I'd been walking with was pulled out through the top of my head.
Mm.
I called my mother that day and I said, "I'm leaving LA. I don't know where I'm going yet. Like, can I come stay with you in transition?" And that started it. And then I started having dreams. I was praying, like, where spirit show me where I need to be of highest service. And I started dreaming of like being pulled into the mountains and like shot out the top. I dreamt of a map with like Asheville circled on it, you know.
Yeah.
It was very clear.
That's so fascinating because now I'm remembering in my late 20s, I had a psychic reading from a dear friend, Susie. Oh God, what's her last name? Susie Eckberg. And she's like, oh, you're going to meet your husband in New York and you're going to move to Asheville.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Really?
yes. And then we fast forward, or she said North Carolina, maybe
Uh-huh.
around Asheville. But then we fast forward to 20, was it 14? And I had just finished my contract with Disney Cruise Line and I was in New York City and I was like, girl,
Yeah.
mama needs a break. You're
Needs
like,
a
I'm
break.
down in
Yeah.
Asheville. Come on down, sister.
Yes. I moved here in 2010. Yeah, it was a number of things. I also knew that I would meet my person here. It took a minute, but I did. And I did. Because there were glimpses of that before I left LA. There were glimpses of things, you know, like it started to really blend, and glimpses of what was to come. And the level of synchronicity when I landed here 3 months later was just next level, you know. Green lights,
Yeah.
open doors, flow, amazing. And there's a lot of reasons to that, you know. I mean, these are the oldest mountains on, hi Carol, on the face of the planet.
Yep.
So there's a lot of stuff. I could say so much about that. And
I'm like, well, we still have 15 minutes because
right.
that's why I'm back here. Because when
Yeah.
I had never been here and when I visited you
Yeah.
here, I was like, oh, Oh, and I have my own remembrance, but what was
Yeah.
your I mean, feel free to share any
Sure.
stories because this is part of who you are and how you got this way.
Well, and my dad's family comes from the deep south, south of Charleston,
Oh, I
on
love your
the
accent.
the Sea Islands south of Charleston, and they had a summer house up here in an area called Montreat. We're just actually entering our 100th year of Mitchell's at Mitchell Cottage.
Oh
So
my gosh, that's amazing.
yeah, yeah, and that's about 45 minutes from where I am now. You know where? Have you been out to the house? Were you
I
here for?
went, which is
Okay.
unacceptable.
Yeah. So it was built a long time ago. And the area where it is, the Selegi people, the indigenous peoples of this area, that was also like their vacation spot. I had a Selegi or a Cherokee elder tell me that. And so it's interesting and to feel so there's an aspect, of course, around colonization, and there's an aspect, of course, of like deep indigenous medicine to these mountains, to the trees, and to the waters, of like, that is where the Seleki people went for respite. That is where the earliest tuberculosis healing centers were taking place in
Mm.
tents along the creeks in what is now Montreat to get the air, to get the refreshment. So I had, though, never been to Asheville. And I had been into Black Mountain once before, because when you come to Montreat, you just go up in the mountains and you stay there and you just drive
Right.
through the rest of the time. And I remember, oh God, what year was it? 2004. I think I was visiting family there. And I remember standing in the middle of Black Mountain and I said, I'd really like to live in a place like this someday. And cut to 6 years later, I was living exactly there. I was living exactly there. And there was a multidisciplinary, multi practitioner center that there was an energy healing practitioner who was going on maternity leave looking to sublet her space. And I happened to show up and slide right into it. And she's still one of my closest friends. That's my friend Marna McGee, who's an incredible healer. Um, and those women in that center, that network, that's why, like, none of us can or should or does this alone. I mean, that, like, to land in a place of, there was one male, John, he was lovely, but like 12 female practitioners, from acupuncturists to naturopathic doctors to Chinese medicine to chiropractic to guided imagery to therapy, all kinds of things. And to be like, I moved here similar to LA and similar to when I stayed in London. I have had these three strong moments of like, I went or stayed in a place and knew no one.
Mm-hmm.
And had, like, I moved to LA with a job, had never been there before, was going to live in a hotel, like had a suitcase and a job, and that was it. And I was 22. And it just like popped these incredible moments and pathways, in my life. And then continuing to follow so much inner directive. And, it it's just been really amazing from there. Not without, of course, its edges, its lessons, its curriculum, and all of that.
Because the mountains definitely have a specific curriculum for
They
everyone
do.
that come here
They do.
that is full of a lot of humble pie,
Yeah.
a lot of learning to discern, and a lot of healthy boundaries that need to get implemented, and a lot of healing. Because I don't know if people know this about these mountains, that a lot of Hollywood, and this is the irony of your story, would come here to heal in between shows.
Yeah.
And you literally came here from originally Hollywood, you know, to step into your priestessness, your shamanism, your goddessness, your healer god, like you're just so multifaceted. And that's something that I've always loved about the limitless way that you hold containers, because it doesn't matter what tool is needed. There's never a judgment around it. It just gets pulled, plucked, and integrated. And
Hmm.
that's something that I love about the tapestry and the fullness of your work. It's like all in there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that's something I do in a different way with my frequency and this and that and all of my life experiences. But there's such there's just such a sisterhood in working with you that I've always loved, like
Yeah.
from hello, and it's so fascinating that that was even there at hello because we've done it before.
Right, right,
You know what
right.
I mean?
Yes. Past life memories opened up when we gazed into each other's eyes. And I just to speak to that, Kristen, the capacity to hold that depth of space comes from having walked through the valley of the shadow. And you know that, and I know that, and that is the alchemy, that is the gift. Like Mary Oliver says, someone once gave me a box of shadows and I realized that this too was a gift.
Oh, yes. It's an
Um,
initiation, and it has to be that's the no get out of jail free card in
right.
this now and always.
And I've come to realize, and I think it started in 2020. I'm like, oh, we're not all incarnating here for the same reason. There's different and I'm like, oh, huh. Have I been a bit even sometimes Pollyanna-ish, in my perception of like, we're
Oh,
all
yeah.
here to help and heal. And I'm like,
Oh,
no, I don't think that's true
that's
anymore,
not true. There's some really bad news bears running around on the planet trying to fucking find out what we're up to and using shenanigans to control the whole system. And that's what 2020 was a lot for me as well. Like it was my own
Yeah.
personal apocalypse that I had to look at
Yeah.
a lot of the miscreations that have been used to harm humanity
Weaponized. Yeah.
yeah,
and
weaponized.
and that there's a level of spiritual. I'm starting to talk a little bit more about like spiritual warfare and what that is, and I would love to do like an energetic boundary setting practice with everyone before we close. So I just want to hold like a few minutes for that, if that's possible.
Absolutely. I mean, it's my show, your show. It's a party. We can do what we want to.
I'll just say I'm really interested just to go like to walk through the valley of the shadow, like for that, what that opens up. Like, and if we look, I see things through layers and patterns and attunements. And it's like, when we truly surrender and when we're resourced, and there is a period of that journey that we have to walk it alone, there's a solitary aspect, and that does a level of emptying out and calibrating, attuning the field, the nervous system, even like the neurology of our being, that changes us, that changes one when we fully surrender to it. And it's a mega threshold. It's like we are not the same as we emerge, and the challenge is how to move to get through, right? Like when we're in the depth of it, and that relationship with our inner landscape, our more than human allies, physical and non-physical, and like that truth of knowing that we're not alone, even when it feels like it's so deeply. Like the alchemy of that creates the space for that capacity,
Yeah,
and it is important to name, and it's important to know, and it's something that can be felt
I
when
love it.
we, meet
I'm
and come.
already
Yeah.
feeling it. And I'm feeling it for some of my audience members. I'm like, yeah, my third chakra's all pissed off and I'm throwing up in my mouth a little bit. Let's go.
The third chakra is going through some stuff.
Big stuff. Well, and I don't know if you study human design. I'm very novice at human design, but
Mm-hmm.
in
Me
human
too.
design beliefs and the Kali Yuga cycle that we're
Mm-hmm.
witnessing the end of, the solar plexus is said to become the new base of
Mm-hmm.
humanity, and that is the evolution that we are up to in, and we're 6 months in this wait, January, February, March, April, May, June. We're 6 months in. Okay, so we've got 2.5 more years-ish
Mm-hmm.
as we evolve into this new human we are becoming. So it would be an honor to receive some more of your magic to assist us in that process. Yes, sister. Yes.
Let's do it. One of the most significant tools of this time are boundaries,
Hmm.
which helps with that discernment we talked about, and it also gives space for the processing we talked about, the necessity of feeling the feelings, feel it to heal it, and to know what's mine and what's not mine.
Yes.
Like in it's something I've grown through in like the maturity of like emotional and spiritual development, going from thinking like I could do all to I can do what I am,
Are
the
you
tiny
kidding?
corner of the world that
Yeah.
I'm
And
assigned,
then you
right?
become a mom. I remember after I had mine, I was like, Mare, don't do it. It's the hardest thing ever. And I've
No,
worked
she
with
did.
children forever.
I remember that moment. She said, "Don't do it, Mare. Don't do it." You said
And
it.
I'm so glad you
Don't do
did.
it.
I love her so much. I can't wait to see her and play with her again. Oh my
Actually, I
goodness.
might. I was going to reach out and see if you had some space this weekend, so I'll text you later.
Okay, let me know. Let me know. Perfect.
Um, it's part of our service to raise these children. I mean, it's so trite to even call them children because these kids are so big coming in. And I was talking to ours last night and I was guiding some development around, and her whole response is, well, I'm just going to say what I want to say and do what I want to do. And her dad and I are always like, we are raising a strong and independent sovereign woman. We are raising a
So,
strong, independent sovereign woman.
oh,
But this stage of like, with the level of will that I want to have like continued is really hard to navigate life with. But we're like, she is a leader. She is a leader.
she's a leader, and y'all, oh my gosh, the showbiz bug has bitten this girl, and let me
Yeah.
tell you, Auntie Kristen is having to belt them out and dance them out with this little star seed, this ginormous star
Yeah.
seed. And I looked over to Marianne and her partner, her husband. I was like, y'all are fucked.
Yeah.
in the best way. Like they
Yes.
really are in and know their role in
Right.
this time. It's so magical to
Right.
witness and humbling and such an honor. So, like I tell Dylan all the time, I'm like, I am so honored that you picked
Mhm.
me to be your mom.
Yeah. It
Such
is. It's such an honor. So, yeah, they teach so much. And so, in the context of that, like energetic boundaries, I mean, especially for empathically inclined, intuitive, highly sensitive people, like we lose a sense of our own edges, you know, of like where we begin and other people in the phenomenal world. It's like this practice we're about to do can be so significant to just for re-embodiment, for holding your own personal space, and for being like freed up and clear enough to keep showing up.
amazing.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. I love you. Thank you.
I love you too. So closing down the eyes and dropping back into that breath and that heart behind the heart that we connected with a little while ago. And taking a moment to call around you one of your own more than human trusted allies. And what do I mean by that? So consider an energy, a deity, a being that's not of your own blood and bone lineage, but the one of the elder powers or elder beings of this earth experience, like the earth itself, the ocean, the energy of love. Perhaps it's an angel or an ally in spirit that you already, like Mother Mary or any other being, deity, or energy that you have an already established relationship with, a particular spirit guide, perhaps. And if that is new to you, try the energy of love or the energy of the earth. And just gift yourself a moment of welcoming this trustworthy ally. So this is an energy, a deity, or a being that you feel loved by, you feel held by, you feel that level of trust. It's established already. And ask this ally to come close. And when you feel the presence of this ally, even just a tiny bit, I invite you to ask this ally for a blessing. Ask this ally for a blessing, an energetic transmission, an outpouring of its love and support and care for you. And feel the energetic transmission, feel the blessing surrounding your overall personal space. So several feet around your body, just cocooning, wrapping, encircling you, embracing. you in this frequency of love and support and care from this trustworthy ally in spirit. So notice yourself well held by this blessing, and that this energy becomes your energetic boundary surrounding your overall personal energetic space. Notice what you notice, feel what you feel, see what you see, hear what you hear. And allow this ally in spirit to hold that boundary with you, for you. It's not of your own nervous system. It's not of your own psyche. It's not of your own field. You're inviting this trustworthy ally to encircle you and to hold and maintain this boundary. And when you feel ready, deeply breathe and allow your eyes to float open, and notice if you can feel that energetic container of your own field, even as you invite in sight and sound through your human senses. So I can still feel like that encircling around overall personal space. These allies are also significant helpers in clearing from the fields. That's another practice we have on the YouTube channel, and on that website you posted, Kristen, there's a newsletter sign up where I share energy hygiene tips and just different ways to engage in what is trustworthy, what is safe, like what is regulating, what is supportive to every aspect of our being, and to help develop these relationships in spirit that are like necessary, in my opinion, and really supportive, because it's not draining, it's not taxing of our own sight and psyche and being to be doing all of the things all of the time. I was reading in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene the other day that I'm paraphrasing, asking for help isn't giving up. Asking for help is like staying in.
Yeah.
So like asking for help is actually staying in the thing, in the engagement, in the showing up, like in the presence.
In the participation.
Mhm.
And that is key in assisting all of us to get to where we all truly want to go,
Mhm.
minus the ding dongs.
It's really good to know that in the essence of everything is vibration, all of that will take care of itself without any help from me.
Exactly.
So,
And that's a boundary.
yeah, it is.
It's such a powerful boundary to
Yeah.
hold from now until forevermore.
Yeah.
That's going to assist. Oh my God.
I did that one rather quickly because I know we're at time. So,
Oh, it's all good, because we have lives that we have to move into, that we are in. But stay backstage, and if people want to reach you, just go to Blue Star. Okay, I'm way too high to freaking type right now. Oh my God. BlueStarMedicine.com. Okay, all right, there we go.
yes.
Oh, and Elena, I have to go. Yeah, okay, left felt bubble water. Awesome. I love it, everybody. Marianne, don't go anywhere. I
Okay.
have some things to share with you backstage. I thank you so very much. Everybody,
Thank you for
she is,
having me, sweetie.
oh my God, so great. And we have so much. I can't, it's my Marianne Mitchell week.
Good thing I see you Thursday.
I know, it is a good thing. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. Please visit Marianne at bluestarmedicine.com and experience her work. Book her for a session. Your life will be so much more balanced and integrated and honored and loved for it. If you need a reading or a session with me, KristenWriter.com. My Platonic Sound program is available for sale. Let's glow, humanity. Let's glow. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you, Marianne. And
Thank
I
you,
love you
sweetie.
all. Thank
Good to
you,
see
guys.
everyone.